The Nerd Academy podcast is released weekly at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, available on our website at www.thenerdacademypodcast.com and wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. You can also help support the show by going to patreon.com/The Nerd Academy podcast, where every donation allows us to bring you more exciting content every week.
Good morning, class, and welcome back to the Nerd Academy podcast, your source for nerddom news and commentary. I am your host and superior webhead master and misser of Superior Spider-Man and a certain trailer we're going to talk about today, Jarod Bachman Stubbs. And I am joined, as always, by our resident Green Lantern, Professor Travis Grossman. Let it
The nice thing
fizzle.
about doing this show in the morning is you get to watch me actively wake up as caffeine enters my bloodstream.
Yes. It is like watching him come out of some form of cryo sleep. Travis, how you doing, buddy?
I am good, he says, tentatively waiting for an ice cream truck to strike him midair. Yeah.
A second ice cream truck has hit the Grossman house.
Oh no. The ice cream truck has hit the South Tower. Semester's almost
Tacos all over the Pentagon.
over. And they didn't order them.
Didn't order them. Anyway, as you were saying.
Yeah. Semester's almost done.
Hell yeah.
I'm almost done working for Walmart.
Hell yeah.
It's a good time. We're doing okay.
Everything's coming up, Travis.
Yeah. I watched all the trailers right before I got on this call, so I know what they all are. I watched the Blue Beetle one when it came out.
Okay.
But not the other ones. I
Well,
watched the other ones now.
I'm excited to talk about them. My favorite one of the bunch may surprise you.
And I am officially one book into Lord of the Rings.
That's right. Yes. How you liking Lotor so far?
So I decided to start watching the movies as I get through the books.
Okay.
So I'm about an hour and a half into the extended cut of the movie, A Fellowship, as well. It feels like I'm watching Lord of the Rings abridged. Like, the books are so dense, and all this is in a positive way, like full of plot, and so much happens.
Yeah.
And the cut from them leaving the Shire and getting to the Prancing Pony feels like the movies aren't long enough. They're just not long enough. I know they're 4 hours. I know that.
Are you aware of the burgeoning second extended cut?
Yes.
Yeah.
That's part of what. So the cards for Magic got spoiled, and then that TikTok creator, who I would see occasionally. Obviously, I'm not super into Lord of the Rings TikTok yet.
Yeah.
Or I follow him now, so that's probably going to change. But he was talking about the cards, and then those TikToks came up, and I was just like, that's funny. For a number of reasons, that's just so funny. And so I decided that was my start point. But I'm glad I did the books first. I am really glad I did the books first. Or I'm doing the books first, I should say.
My current literary project is that I want to get through the original Heir to the Empire trilogy, which I was already working on pre name drop in the Ahsoka trailer. But now I have to get through a little more expeditiously. And then I need to get caught up on the High Republic. but I also plan on joining you on your Lord of the Rings audiobook journey by year's end.
Andy Serkis makes it so easy, man.
I'm
It's
sure he does. I've seen clips. Like I've seen clips of him like in the booth,
yeah,
like with the book.
he's phenomenal job.
I'm very excited to check all that out. I'm enjoying you cataloging your progress in the group chat. Yeah, obviously this is our first Teen App main show post my return from Baton Rouge. We had a wonderful time. You don't have to worry about watching the match promo at the beginning and end of every fucking episode we release. So you got that going for you. I lost. It came down to the wire. If you haven't watched the match yet, I highly recommend you do. And when you do watch that match, as you can see here, that was a stunt cookie cop. Scotty did that too. I don't know if Travis, you've seen.
I saw a picture of it. I don't know which one of you posted it. I don't remember, but I did see a picture of like, and I looked and went, "Is that the hat from? Is that his face?" There's no way they used the real cookie cop.
I'm glad you gave me such credit, because Spencer, who was watching live, texted me something to the effect of like, "I can't believe you let him destroy our mascot." And I was like, "No, it's okay. It was a stunt cookie cop." That was the epic confrontations canon of Cookie Cop. So now anytime I film a cutscene or I play a match, I have to hide this guy so as to avoid a continuity error. But no, Baton Rouge was wonderful. I was excited because every time I'd get a notification that a trailer dropped while we were down in the bayou, I was like, "Oh man, we got like 4 trailers to cover in one episode of Teen App." I love that stuff, and I'm very excited to jump into talking about all of that. But first, we have a word from our lovely sponsors from Sunday's Bloody Mary, and you guys should know the drill by now. SundaysBloodyMary.com has the most badass Bloody Mary accoutrement in the multiverse, with their 3-time award-winning spicy Caesar mix, as well as their traditional and mild mixes if the spice isn't for you. They also have their award-winning pickled dilly beans, okra, and asparagus, and some rim salt if you're trying to get nasty with some garnishes, and a delightful, cute little tomato Bloody Mary themed merch line as well. So get on over to sundaysbloodymary.com/shop. Use code TNAP, TNAP, at checkout and get 10% off your order and help out your favorite nerds while you do it. Moving on, before we jump into trailer talk, I do want to give an update on the Jonathan Majors situation, which has developed since last we spoke. Almost as the TNAP curse continues, practically by the time I press stop on recording when last we spoke, there was a development where text messages came out that showed the woman in question basically doing a "Hey, sorry I made you hit me" type message, which was instantaneously damning. At current, this is an exclusive from Variety that broke yesterday at time of record. We are releasing this on the day we record it, so April 20th, 2023. Blaze it. Jonathan Majors issues worsen as more alleged abuse victims cooperate with DA's office. And this is from Tatiana Siegel. Jonathan Majors prepares for May 8th court appearance on domestic violence charges. The problems are about to get bigger. Sources familiar with the matter tell Variety that multiple alleged abuse victims of Majors have come forward following his March arrest and are cooperating with the Manhattan District Attorney's Office. The prospect of more women waiting in the wings would mark a dramatic turn in the case, and comes on the heels of Majors' publicist and management firm cutting ties with the embattled actor earlier this week. The district attorney declined to comment. Jonathan Majors is innocent and has not abused anyone. We have provided irrefutable evidence to the DA that the charges are false. We are confident that he will be fully exonerated, said Majors' attorney. And then just goes over details here, which we'll rehash real quick. The Creed 3-star was arrested on March 25th in the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan on charges of strangulation, assault, and harassment. At the time, an NYPD spokesperson said in a statement that a 30-year-old woman told police she had been assaulted by Majors and that she sustained minor injuries to her head and neck and was removed to an area hospital in stable condition. So, as the situation continues to develop, the evidence is seeming to mount. This does not look good for anybody involved. Again, this goes bigger than just cinematic universes and casting and stuff like that. This situation does not look great. And as many people have pointed out, when your publicists and PR people whose job it is to make any public fuck up somehow a W, all look at a situation and go, you know what? We out. It's normally a really bad fucking sign. So yeah, very disappointed. Very, very upsetting situation. And
I want to know how big the check they cut was that they're considering it irrefutable evidence.
Yeah. So here is hoping that the truth ultimately has its day and justice is done in this situation. Moving on though to our trailer talk. We're going to talk Secret Invasion first. It's so weird that we're almost halfway through the year and we haven't had any Marvel TV. It feels weird. I'm happy to have the respite from it. Especially after pulling double duty with a lot of Star Wars stuff, having Batch and Mando happening concurrently. But this trailer for Secret Invasion absolutely whets my appetite, makes me excited to get back into the swing of things with Marvel TV, talking about Marvel TV. I really enjoyed this trailer. It feels like I really like the tone of it. I really love the spy thriller tone that feels like it's taking point on a lot of Captain America, the Winter Soldier's strengths, but mixing it with that spacefaring sci-fi element that excites me a lot. I've seen a lot of really cool theory crafting around some stuff here with regards to the Skrulls, namely with regards to that Department of Damage Control briefcase shown in the trailer. That, doing a little poking around the internet before we started today, I realized that apparently in the first trailer, digitally that text is removed. But in this trailer, we see, that it says Department of Damage Control, blah, 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 specimen CULL. And it's kind of cut off and you can't read the rest of it. And I saw it pointed out that it could be. I'm getting a phone call. I think I need to answer it. Sorry. Oh, you're good. They could be one Cull Obsidian, who in one way or another lost both of his hands over the course of Avengers Infinity War. Whenever Wong sparkly portals it off in Central Park, and then later during the Battle of Wakanda, whenever he is flown up and kind of dragged and grinded across the Wakandan shield. And we see that some of these Skrulls are beginning to exhibit the power replication abilities that we see from the Super Skrulls in the comics. Obviously, famously, the Fantastic Four is typically the victims of the power grabbing, quite literal power grabbing happening with the Skrulls as they are, plucking the powers, and you end up with the Skrulls who are stretchy, rock hard, invisible, and shooting fire. But here we kind of see a more a la carte thing happening with some MCU characters. And one of the Skrulls seemingly has a big old Cull Obsidian fist in the scene that looks like an attempt on the current MCU president's life. Uh, which I think is interesting if they're kind of harvesting some of these abilities. Another, obviously, the moment where the main Skrull villain, whose name escapes me, it's like Gevik or Tevik or something like that, who's like kind of doing like a Groot arm, would again lean itself towards people who kind of left something behind that they could have replicated their powers with. I don't think it would be unreasonable to say that maybe somebody found a Groot branch at the old Avengers compound during the Battle for Earth. But a lot of this, I love the mystery. I love the intrigue. Also, was very fascinated by the fact that it looks like Fury has multiple gravestones. With all of the the one we see here in the mausoleum seemingly being a weapons cache. And this is a trailer I actually watched with Scotty of the Bombad cast, where Taylor pointed out that it had to be a different gravestone because it didn't have the Pulp Fiction quote on it. This one has an actual
I did.
This one has an actual Bible verse, and not the fictional Ezekiel 25:17. I have the number right. Ezekiel 25:17. I think I have it right. Yeah,
that's right.
I just for a moment there questioned myself about one of my favorite movies. But yeah, also did a little reading. There was a Vanity Fair write-up not too long ago that also gave us some details. So if you, again, with the context of that write-up, watching the trailer, see a lot of it's taking place in like what looks to be some type of nuclear power plant. It's not Chernobyl, but we know it is in Russia, and it looks like Emilia Clarke of Game of Thrones and Solo: A Star Wars Story fame is playing Talos's daughter, which makes the shot of her crying over a body a lot more foreboding, as we see that Ben Mendelsohn's Talos is also not doing too hot. At one point in the trailer, looking like he kind of took a shot to the chest and is in this weird in between Skrull human shapeshift mode. But I love the tone of this trailer. I'm very excited for this show. Very excited for the future implications. So much. Obviously, it is the multiverse saga. It is, however they choose to course correct from obvious real world woes, the story of the Kang dynasty, and I'm excited to kind of take a look back on what's happening on planet Earth as things start to heat up. And also no clear indication as to who Hidden Skrull might be, which is, a key element of the Secret Invasion story arc. I'm not going to say firmly in Camp Rhodey, but if I were a betting man and it was time to place bets, I'm still leaning one Colonel James Rhodes. Travis, your thoughts on the trailer?
First, I'd like to apologize because I thought I was getting a scam likely call and it was not, and I'm glad I picked it up. I actually did watch this one when it came out. I forgot because it's been 2 weeks. Everything you said, love the tone, love the Civil War vibes. The nice thing about the MCU is that you get to have these projects with varying tonality, so we can have something like She-Hulk and something like Secret Invasion, and neither one feels out of place.
100%, 100%. And it's like a good comic book shared continuity should feel. You should be able to trench into the darkest of dark, and also have some stories that are just whimsical. That is another thing about like keeping up with comic books that the MCU does so authentically replicate, is that slurry of tones, as you were saying.
Yeah. Oh no, You said as you were saying. Are you?
Okay, I lost you for a second. You got
We lost each other for a
super
second.
laggy. Sorry.
No, it's okay.
TV, everybody. But yeah, no, this was fantastic. I'm really loving the tone. I'm getting nervous for Fury. I'm nervous for good old Colonel Nick. He's had a good run. Obviously, this isn't the only time we're going to see him this year. We will be talking about him with our next trailer. So, any other thoughts on Secret Invasion before we move on to the Marvels?
Nope. I don't think so.
All right. As I said, I have my favorite trailer of the bunch is not the one you'd expect. It's this one. It's close between this and Spider-Verse. Spider-Verse, we still have no idea what the hell is happening in Spider-Verse. And I think that's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
And we just kind of got more flavor with Spider-Verse, but this one knocked my socks off. I love Ms. Marvel. I'm excited to have Photon back. And I love Captain Marvel. I love the movie. I love the character. I love Carol Danvers. The tone of this, again, it's the tone. It's that immediate like knock in the face to show you exactly how this movie is going to feel. And I loved it. I love the Beastie Boys needle drop. I really enjoy the premise that like it's going to be these powers kind of throwing everybody about the place, and that we have a situation where three real heavy hitters within the MCU need to kind of tone it back on their powers, at least at first, to prevent everybody from swapping places, which I think is a really fun premise. It's also just a really fun cast of characters, getting to see Maria Rambeau and Carol and Kamala. That alone, that trinity of the Marvels alone is really fun. And then you factor in Fury and these Kree zealots that we're going to have to deal with as the villains, an army of Flurkin. Uh, it's very exciting, and even though this movie is cosmic in nature, again, it feels not super involved with the multiverse plot, which I think is, again, it's a nice little respite that is helping build up the characters who are going to play a big role. Not every single story in the Infinity Saga involved an Infinity Stone, and it's better that way. And same thing here with getting a couple stories that are less multiverse heavy compared to an Ant-Man or a Spider-Man or a Doctor Strange, Loki, etc. I think my favorite moment. So my two favorite moments in this trailer: one, Iman Vellani continuing to be a heavy hitter star in the making. Her reaction to watching Goose eat those Kree soldiers
Was
that
incredibly accurate to what anyone's reaction would
I
be.
know she's so authentic. I love to watch her on screen, and that just oh my god, like it's so precious. I love her Kamala. She was truly born to play that character.
Yes.
Just no doubts about it. Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan might be up there with like Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark. As like how did to steal a joke from last podcast on the left? It's like they were built in a lab to play this character. The other thing, did you notice the new suits towards the end of the trailer?
I think so.
Namely Carol's. Oh my god. My favorite Captain Marvel, Carol Danvers, Ms. Marvel, whichever moniker you want to give her. My favorite look for her is that red and black outfit.
Yeah, that checks out.
With the big like foot. That was funny. But seeing it just adapted to screen, like it just looks so clean. I said it on Twitter. I'm going to say it again. That suit is just from that brief look we see in the trailer. That is already a top 10 MCU suits for me. Like no question at all. Is such a clean looking fucking outfit. Kamala's looks like largely just kind of looks like an upgrade to some classic MCU lines and textures, as opposed to kind of her like homemade, thrown
Yeah.
together fabric outfit, which it doesn't look bad. It makes sense for her to get some type of upgrade. And, every superhero movie, you got to have a new suit these days. But Captain Marvel's, man, love it. I've been rambling. Your thoughts on the Marvels?
Shut the hell up, Chuck. I enjoyed the trailer. It makes it feel to me like this is going to be a Monica Rambeau movie. That's the vibe I got from this. And maybe it's just the scenes they chose to splice together that, like, in order of main charactership, and I know it is all three of them. It's Monica, then Kamala, then Carol. Based on what we've seen. But I think that's also because we have more character building to do for Monica and Carol. Or Monica and Kamala than we do for Carol.
Yeah.
Because we've had Carol. And not that we've actually had that much for Carol, but Carol's been through an event already.
Yeah.
And based on how she worked through that event, like she's the stoic one.
Yeah. Yeah. And well, that's something I like a lot is because, in the same way that like with the Avengers movies, every single Avengers film has kind of put a focus on one of the characters we don't get a lot from on their own. Like Avengers 1, even though there is the Incredible Hulk, had a lot of Hulk shine because of obvious, recasting stuff, and Joss Whedon had a propensity towards the Hulk, and Black Widow. And same thing goes for Age of Ultron, where like Age of Ultron had a lot of shine for Hawkeye. And Infinity War it was such a, ensemble movie, but that was like Thanos' movie, and Endgame was like arguably Nebula's time to shine. So another team up movie kind of going, okay, Kamala's had a TV show. Captain Marvel has been in several movies, including her own. We're gonna put the biggest spotlight, at least in the trailer, and at least for the sake of character development, on Teyonah Parris's Maria Rambeau.
Have I been saying Monica this whole time?
I don't. Maybe you did. I don't know.
Oh
if you
God.
did, I heard Maria.
Fake fan. I'm out of here.
It's okay. I did that, I think, more times than we can count with WandaVision, and you guys were nice enough not to point it out.
That's just because I didn't know you were wrong.
Right up there with me making up a superhero, as Mitch from the comic book cast has so lovingly pointed out to us multiple times. But I think it makes sense to kind of put the spotlight on her because we don't know what Maria has going on post really getting her powers after WandaVision.
Right.
Like we see her build to that moment. We see her heroically step between Hayward was the guy from WandaVision, like step between him and the kids. But like after that, we don't really know what she has going on. Pardon me. So yeah, I'm excited to see more shine from her. This one has me really excited. I love Captain Marvel. I think it's a really fun fucking movie. I not even addressing the fandom menace of it all. I don't understand why people don't like that movie. I truly don't. I don't. I understand a little.
Have you ever considered that some people had to spend an entire day after seeing that movie replacing the brake caliper in their car? It's that movie's fault.
Brie Larson carjacked me.
Yes. Which is why every time I see any material with Captain Marvel, I punch drywall.
Don't make too many jokes about that, Travis. You already have a very bad Mountain Dew addiction. As he picks up a new can. Yeah, I couldn't have timed that better. But yeah,
you
no.
couldn't have.
Super excited for the Marvels. Very entertained by this trailer. And I cannot wait for this to come out. Moving on to what is definitely my most anticipated movie of the year. That said, I don't think we're going to spend a whole lot of time on this trailer just because we get a whole lot from it other than what we already knew. We did get to see the spot in this Across the Spider-Verse trailer. I love the idea that the spot is not going to be some megalomaniacal villain. He's a bumblefuck idiot. My favorite part of the trailer is him trying to drop an ATM off a roof and accidentally dropping it through a portal and hitting himself in the back with it.
Yeah.
The spot has not had a single thought cross his mind, and we're in for a treat because of it. But no, all of the things about Spider-Verse apply to this trailer. The art style looks incredible. We do get some looks at Spider-Man India, Scarlet Spider, and Spider-Punk, all of which look incredible. I cannot emphasize enough how great an idea this Spider-Man India redesign was. I know there had been some Indian fans who were kind of a little miffed at the fact that Spider-Man India basically wore like baggy pants and like the slipper shoes. And that was basically all they did. Like he had the same top part. This one is way more ornate and leans way more into like traditional Indian culture in aesthetic. And I think that suit looks so fucking clean. We get a lot of Hobie Spider-Punk in here as well. I don't think we heard him speak yet. We haven't gotten to hear Daniel Kaluuya drop any dialogue as him yet. But I'm very excited. Obviously, as everybody knows, Travis is in this movie as well. Playing Spider-Man.
They made me look jacked, dude.
They look like a brick shithouse in this one. They gave you like my shoulders. They put like my shoulders on your body.
Us. Yeah, they just merged us into one being. And they were like, but in doing so, we lost a dimension. And so
yes, that is it. You do a fusion dance. It creates Spider-Man 2099, but flat, jacked but flat. But no. I am very curious to know what the whole Spider Force thing is about. You know, we know the spot is going to be in both Across the Spider-Verse and Beyond the Spider-Verse. And maybe it's just me wanting to see the ridiculous plot from the comics brought into the movies. But I am still not giving up hope that Miguel O'Hara is creating this Spider Force team to go toe-to-toe with Morlun and his family of interdimensional energy drinking spider person hunting vampires. I feel like it makes sense. That's such a weird threat that it would make that, you would need to coalesce an army. And, we see some of the web of fate and destiny in this trailer. And again, in the Spider-Verse event written by Dan Slott, the GOAT of Spider-Man writers, in my opinion, we see some of that web of destiny. And in the Spider-Verse event, some of the spider people are like these elevated totems that, like, Scarlet Spider Kane has a specific role to play, and so does Ben Reilly and Main Peter and all that stuff. I'm curious if the reason why 2099 is so anti bringing Miles into the fold is because he is aware of some like prophetic role that Miles is supposed to play and does not want him in play yet. But other than that, I love this trailer. It was beautiful. The art style is incredible. Another really fun detail. I don't know if you noticed. Whenever Rio is getting ready to ream Miles out for having a B in Spanish, whenever she kind of like snaps in his face, like the snap effect that comes from her fingers is the Puerto Rican flag.
Oh, I didn't notice that.
It is so cute. It is so cute. I love these fucking movies. I know we don't have the second one yet, but I already know I'm gonna
Right.
love it.
Right.
Again, if I have one complaint, Sony Animation, Lord and Miller, where is he? Where the fuck is he? We saw him in one shot in the trailer, and he might be in this one too, because we see a Spider-Man from the back who is wearing red and black. But it could either be Superior Spider-Man or that like freaky looking assassin Spider-Man, both of whom wear red and black. But in the trailer that came out in December, it was definitely Superior. So I know you drew him. Make him more important, please. I want my boy. I'm a simple man. And
I
people
see.
will
I see
lose their
Dr.
minds.
Octavius. I click.
I am simple man. I see Otto, I click. I'm in. You give me Doc Ock, I'm in. I don't think I'm asking for much, you know? Like
I don't
we're
think you are
getting
either.
I I think
You're gonna
I
come out
think
of
the
the movie. You're gonna come out of the movie. You're gonna be like, and my favorite part was when Doc Ock showed up and said, "It's superioring time."
It's superioring time. Oh my god. It's like I've said this before. I think, especially if you do it the way it happened in the Spider-Verse comic, where you kind of had like two different spider teams going at the same time. And it was Otto as Superior Spider-Man leading a group of all the edgy spider people, and then you had everybody else, and eventually they all coalesce. But I just imagine how cool it would have been. Because obviously, like, there's at least a Superior Spider-Man, someone who's wearing the suit at least in the Spider Force. But like ending the movie, seeing like another faction of Spider people, and it's like, all right, you dolts, let's do this one more time. I am Otto Octavius, and I am the Superior Spider Man. Ending it there with that fucking name drop, doing the let's do this one more time, and just blowing the audience's mind. Because the general audience doesn't know that Doc Ock used to be Spider Man for a hot minute. Twice.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I feel like that would get a big reaction. I think it'd be a great way to end one of these movies with let's do this one more time with that very grievously serious voice. Also, cute little Mayday Parker. I know a lot of people have a lot of opinions about why Marvel Comics refuses to let Peter be happy for more than 13 issues. And I've seen people on the internet talking about how they hope that audiences will have such a positive reaction to Peter being a happily married father that they might let this man like catch a one fucking break in the comics for the first time in like 25 years.
Maybe.
I think it's unlikely.
Probably not, but maybe.
Maybe this man's life.
You went from 0 to 2%. Congratulations.
Yes, you went 0 to 2%. But yeah, no. Spider-Verse is my most anticipated movie of the year. I cannot wait for this to come out. Even if my boy does not play a major role, I am still excited to see it in the theater. Moving on to our last trailer that Travis, you did see when it came out. Blue Beetle. How you feeling about Blue Beetle?
I am stunned. I knew because like I've been excited for this movie since they announced it.
Yeah.
I was like, gee dang, we're getting Jaime Reyes in a Blue Beetle movie. That's some good shit. I love me some Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle. It looks good.
It looks really good.
It
It
looks
looks really
really good.
fun. It looks great. I loved watching this. I just want to rock needle drop, fit the tone so perfectly.
I
Aesthetically, everything is so beautiful here.
right now my only complaint is loosely used. I wish they had a voice, like an actual voice actor doing the Scarab voice, and not
You are
like a
not the
text.
first you're not the first person
Yeah,
I've heard say that, and I think that is a valid complaint.
because like my big interaction with Jaime as a character is in Young Justice,
Yeah.
where the Scarab is its own character basically. Like it has a very unique voice, and the way they communicate is like a very real back and forth. And so I don't know if that's comically canon accurate. Um, but I think it's one of those helps give the character in the same way that having the AI for Spider-Man or for Iron Man for that matter help with they usually talk to themselves thing in the
Yeah.
comics, right? Um, I mean they use that out in the comics, like he's talking to the Scarab, but the having it not be a almost text to speech like voice makes the Scarab feel more like a character, more organic. But I'm not going to pretend like it's going to take away from the movie for me because of like he has his whole family there as well. I forgot that
Yeah.
George Lopez was going to be in this movie.
I had no fucking clue that George Lopez was in this.
I
Maybe we covered it. That
that's
completely
what I'm
slipped my
thinking.
mind if we did.
Yeah, I we might have. That's the only reason I said forgot. But I love it. I love every minute of it.
We saw him again. This is another one I watched with Scotty, and Scotty and I at the same time went, "Is that fucking George Lopez?" And he's almost unrecognizable at first, with like the long hair and the crazy goatee and the painted nails. Like he looks like a different fucking dude. And
And you
also
know he was so down for all of that.
oh yeah, oh yeah. Um,
He was like, "Make me the weird uncle, please."
please let me be the crazy uncle. Like cool hippie uncle, because like I know people got their bat trunks in a twist. Uh,
I I did the same laugh I just did when I heard the line.
it's like Batman's tech. Batman is a fascist. Um, Listen, do I agree with the overall take that Batman is like a fascist? Like Batman is a fascist. Period. Do I agree with that? No, because it depends on your interpretation. It depends on the artist's interpretation. Um, there's a lot of conversations that can be had about like propaganda within the Batman franchises. That even the stories where the GCPD, save for James Gordon, is a wholly corrupt institution. That like a lot of propaganda stories revolve around the one good cop type narratives. And there's a lot to unpack there. However, you cannot refute the fact that there are stories where Batman is acting in such a way that he is, if not a fascist in name, acting super fashy.
Yeah.
Um, the Dark Knight Returns trilogy comes to mind. Um, One of those books being called fucking Master Race. Um, Frank Miller's politics are really weird. In my opinion, Bruce kind of goes back and forth between really based and really problematic throughout Dark Knight Returns. But I don't understand how, like, no, I take that back. I do understand how that fucking happened. Uh because it was a popular character and a buzzword in the same sentence. And of course, all of the usual suspects got on one big,
Yep.
ugly, stupid fucking podcast to complain about it for 3 hours, proving that they've never picked up a comic book in their fucking lives. Um,
I saw a TikTok and the creator's name escapes me, so this is absolutely not my take. I do not want to take credit for actual artistic thought. Uh, but I someone was doing they were talking about the Batman as a fascist line and was like, so the line you have to run, and you kind of mentioned it, is um everything that he fights has to lead back to corruption within the city.
yeah, you sent, yeah. You sent me that
Did I
TikTok.
send
I
that?
remember
Did I
seeing
send it
it.
to you?
Yeah,
Okay, I didn't remember if I did.
yeah,
Absolutely genius. Because like it negates the, well, why doesn't Bruce Wayne just pay all his money into Gotham and make it a better place? He can't, because the money
yeah.
won't go where it needs to go. That's the point. Doesn't mean that it's right for him to beat up the guy stealing a purse because he needs to feed his kid or whatever. That will, that's a
Yeah,
different discussion. And that's all
yeah,
on the writer. That's on the writer to portray Batman doing the right thing and
yeah.
picking and choosing his battles.
I think that's why, like, when you look at like a more like recent, not super recent, but like in the grand scheme of Batman's, like, nearly 100 years long mythology, um, in recent time, a lot of Batman stories have stopped being about small time criminals and
Mm-hmm.
are, this is comic book fiction in general, is way more about like insane super terrorists trying to destroy Gotham, and yes, there are stories that have warranted the Batman beats the shit out of poor mentally ill people. Story that reinforces that, does not take long to find a great Arkham meme of Bruce using what the CIA would call enhanced interrogation methods with the wheel of a Batmobile. But again, you're right, and that creator is right, that it all super duper comes down to like how you write him. And it frustrates me that a line that got a legitimate big laugh from my obnoxious Bat fan ass has dominated the conversation about this Latinx superhero. Like, we got a trailer for a goddamn Jaime Reyes Blue Beetle movie, and we're doing it right now. And what has been what has been the fucking conversation? Batman.
Man.
I fucking hate it here. Like, you people are so fucking stupid. But to bring it back on Jaime, to give Jaime his flowers, uh the young man who they cast, who out of respect for him, I'm not going to butcher his name because I'm waiting to hear him say it in an interview, um, as I do often to be respectful to our actors. Uh, he he's such a perfect pick. He has that same, like, he has that perfect mix of, like, young, dumb, and full of love, like teenage kid vibe, while also
Yeah.
like adequately having the wide-eyed, like, whoa, what the fuck, man. Um that I love. And to a general audience, you don't want to keep creating characters who may be comparable to other characters in different pantheons. Like, just based off of sheer recency bias, young kid getting a high-tech suit of armor for the general audience could feel very much like the MCU Spider-Man. And that could have been a pitfall the movie fell into. And in this brief trailer, Jaime could not feel more different than MCU Peter Parker. And I think that could have been a real issue that the filmmakers had, again with the general audience, and showing in the ways that they're different. Like Jaime is the kind of character who would have that really just kick ass. I'm trying so hard to not use the word swagger. Thank you, IGN. But that shit with the goddamn sword,
Mm-hmm.
like that. Perfect, nail, hit, head, amazing. The boom, ooh, I can do better, boom. And then he just does this like dramatic, like does the like arc around him and like does the fucking like Mando season 2 style donkey kick it back up to his shoulder. That shit was so clean. Um, I'm really interested to see how this movie plays with like the Blue Beetle mythology and mythos, because Sigourney Weaver is playing what's that Sigourney Weaver? Hold on. I want to make sure I got that right, because the moment I said that, I questioned it. Susan Sarandon. I always get them confused. I say the wrong one. Anyway, Sigourney Weaver was in something recently, though. What was she in? I don't remember. Doesn't
I
fucking
couldn't tell
matter. Doesn't matter. Susan Sarandon's character, she's playing Victoria Cord. So, and there's that shot in the trailer where you could see the Barrett suit, the Cord suit. So I'm very curious to see what how they play with the mythology here, how that shakes out. Another thing that I think is going to be very interesting to see is how much this movie gets changed with the changing of the guard. Once we move past Flash, once we move into the DCU proper, if we keep some of this cast, how much of it we keep. If Ted Cord is out there, we know is Booster Gold getting a TV show or a movie? I can't remember.
I believe a TV show.
That's a great place to put Ted Cord.
Although generally when Jaime picks up the mantle, Ted has passed. So now that doesn't necessarily matter for Booster Gold because he time travels, but if this remains in the greater canon, it is likely that Ted will be dead.
Yeah. Well, and we also get Victoria Cord doing the whole the scarab chose you, but it belongs to me. So that could also be the direction we're going, of it being a her wanting to inherit it from her since deceased brother. But yeah, very fun stuff. This movie looks so fun. It looks so cool. I love just the aesthetic of it. I love that like kind of vaporwave looking city. Which go all the way back to a DC fandom ago or two, when we got our first look at what they were going to be doing with Blue Beetle when they announced it. That like it was that like purple city in the background, and as a Star Wars fan, um, Star Wars fans take their concept art seriously, and I think that's only gotten more the case post The Mandalorian and Book of Boba Fett making it their credit art. That like getting to see the point A to point B in the creative process is always so exciting. So going back to that first image with those like vibrant purples lighting the skyline from Cord Tower, up to now seeing it in practice, it just makes me happy, and it gives me hope to not go into a DC project kind of like with a deep sigh, either by way of problematic cast member or knowing that the movie is inevitably not going to be great, a la Black Adam. So very excited for Blue Beetle. Speaking of DC movies, I'm going into with a deep sigh. Joker Folie Deux wraps filming for Lady Gaga and Joaquin Phoenix-led sequel. It's from Collider. Yeah, we've seen some set photos of Lady Gaga's Harley Quinn. They look exactly like what you thought they would have looked like.
I'm so excited. Can't you see it on my face? I'm so happy for this movie.
We're seeing this one together. We're going into the belly of the beast as a unit.
Only if someone in the theater is vaping profusely.
Hitting like a weed vape profusely.
Yeah.
It smelled loud as fuck in that theater. And also someone had one of those weird leg scooters that kind of looked like a gun from a distance, and it was really funny. That was fun. I don't know, man. I don't like to have this approach to art, because I hate the why does this exist? Who asked for this type complaint? I think it is inherently anti-art. But why the fuck are they making this? I'm like, I have zero, I don't know, man.
It's the same reason they're making a Harry Potter show, man.
Dude, I forgot to put that in the notes. Thank you for bringing it up. I am so fucking angry about that. This is going to be the moment of the show where I get a little hot under the collar. Listen, man, okay, let me take a step back. This past week, because upon getting back from Louisiana, Taylor and I realized we had COVID. So we were kind of down for the count for a few days. My ability to rejoin society is achieved today, actually. Assuming I don't abruptly have a downturn in symptoms. But in that time, Taylor was like, hey, I'm finally going to make you watch a Harry Potter musical.
Oh. You never seen it?
No.
Really?
I had seen clips completely devoid of context.
Huh.
And enjoyed it. I watched the first one. We watched the second one. The second one has aged less well than the first one. But I'm sitting there and I'm laughing and I'm enjoying it. And I just keep having this fucking moment where I'm like, I used to love this shit so much. I used to fucking love Harry Potter. Harry Potter, pardon me, used to be like, nothing's like Star Wars is all the way up here, like, as my shit. It used to be Harry Potter, Marvel, DC, like right here. You know, as close as something can get to the galaxy far, far away from me. And like, I used to love it, and love it despite how dog shit a lot of parts of it are. Like, you know, you can unpack and have conversations about anti-Semitic tropes across more fantasy stories than we have time to talk about. You know, like there are anti-Semitic tropes in Middle Earth stuff. You know,
yes.
There's a good bit in there. You know, it is a weird issue a lot of Western fantasy has, because so many destructive tropes permeated the DNA of like Western mythology that one could, to varying degrees of inadvertentness, create some wildly anti-Semitic characters and caricatures and stereotypes and enforced tropes. So sure, you know, not going to defend Joan on that one. Not going to say it's okay because it was an accident and Tolkien did it too. But it's an issue people run into. And it's an issue that modern fantasy has been like actively trying to avoid, because now we know, because we have these conversations. J.K. Rowling doesn't let those conversations happen. In fact, she makes sure her fucking game is about blood libel. You know? And then we have the shit where like Hermione Granger is an abolitionist, but it's like, haha, look at this dumb bitch. She thinks people should have rights. And that's like a running joke. You know? Like they straight up put that in the Harry Potter musical sequel, and I fell off the couch laughing. We had to pause it for like 5 minutes because Taylor and I could not stop laughing, and we both had a realization. It's like, maybe the Star Kid people saw all this shit coming. That on some level they clocked that Joan has this superhuman fucking desire to be problematic. You know, she just could have ridden off into the sunset. She could have just ridden off into the sunset. Instead, she had to be this hateful sack of fucking shit and ruin all of this stuff. If she did not do what she has done as a person and to her own legacy, and has taken away a source of joy for millions of people the world over because she can't help but be a bigoted piece of shit, Travis, I'd have been pumped for this TV show.
Yeah. And so here's the thing. I've seen a lot of people talk about it. I've seen a lot of people talk about why. And there are a couple of big running theories as to what happened. The only reason I wanted to bring it up and talk about it is because I have my own running theory as to what happened. The first one, obviously, is that Fantastic Beasts has not been doing well, both because of COVID and the fact that they're not great movies. And because they're becoming prequels for Harry Potter, like the first one's okay, and then the next two become prequels, and suddenly they degrade in quality. The second reason is that because Daniel Radcliffe and Emma Watson have been so outspoken against J.K. Rowling, this lets them retie the face of those characters to new actors and remove them effectively from the franchise. Because they clearly have no intention of buying out J.K. Rowling and being on their way with this IP. J.K. Rowling clearly has no intention of selling it off and being separated because she likes having the clout, as we've determined. I don't think any of that is the case, personally. And my reasoning is that is way too much thought for David Zaslav to have had. We all know he went in and said, Harry Potter TV show. And everyone went, boss said it, Harry Potter TV show. That was it. That was the conversation. There was no thought behind those eyes. We have this IP sitting around. Use it. That was it.
It's just, I just get so upset with this stuff, man.
Yeah.
You know, and like, for me, you know, I made the decision to not buy or play Hogwarts Legacy. You know, I think, and there was a time, you know, for the past few years, like we've known about J.K. Rowling for a while now, and what she thinks of trans people and the bigots she surrounds herself with, the literal neo-Nazis she's giving fucking money to. Witch trials my ass. And despite that, there was a point in time where a lot of people, even people who decided they weren't going to do it, they weren't going to support Hogwarts Legacy, came to the conclusion of, you know, hate this, you know, hate what she does, but she can't take this away from you. And what we've realized over time is continued support of this franchise directly funnels money into hate groups. And J.K. Rowling herself has gone on record as basically saying the continued success of the Harry Potter franchise means that people agree with me. And as much as I don't want to let a bigot control the fucking conversation, the she has effectively set the terms of engagements and the optics of this situation. That the continued success of Harry Potter means that the global discourse sees her as being correct and the victor in these culture wars. And it breaks my fucking heart. Like, I just want her to George Lucas it. I just want her to wipe her fucking hands of it so badly. Like, I want this franchise back so badly. And I talk about it in these terms because, like, you know, we're a fucking entertainment show, you know, like all of her grotesque bigotry is so just on the fucking record. Anybody who doesn't understand the virulent hatred that J.K. Rowling has deservingly placed on herself by what used to be her fans, if you're unfamiliar, check out the Philosophy Tube, Jesse Gender, and ContraPoints videos about it. All three of them, all trans people, lay out exactly why this hateful fucking bitch has ruined one of the most beloved franchises on the goddamn planet. You know, and it hurts. It fucking hurts. Like like I'm a queer fan, and like as some I don't want to be one of those like gay not queer fucking like anti allies who throws in with this shit. You know, but I miss liking the Magic School fucking franchise, man. I hate that she's ruined it. I hate that she's destroyed it. I've had conversations with mutual friends of ours who have been like, well, come, like, you know, like, yeah, she sucks, but like, you know, don't punish yourself for her sucking, play the game. And like, even if these boycotts weren't happening, it tastes bad now, you know, the same way that like I can't fucking listen to Kanye anymore. I can't, you know, not because like, oh, I don't want to give him 30 cents by streaming My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy on Spotify. You know, when his music comes on in public, I get sad.
Mm-hmm.
Because an artist I love, an artist who created media that deeply affected me, was not able to live up to the standard they set themselves and chose a comical level of evil and malice. Same thing goes for J.K. Rowling. You know, in another world, you know, I would be sitting here in one of the Harry Potter Roosevelts wearing my Gryffindor Vans and my Gryffindor fucking dad hat, talking about how excited I am for, pardon my hiccups, that's how angry I'm getting. I have indigestion now. Is that like talking about how awesome it is that a TV show is going to have that is the way that Harry Potter always should have been done, because that gives you the runtime to include characters who got cut, to deepen these plot lines, to maybe fix the problematic elements of this story. And we all know what's going to happen. They're going to do what they did with the fucking game. Hey, look, here's a trans character whose name like secretly has a dick, you know, like, and that's how we're gonna hand wave this away. Look, we fucking trans McGonagall. Or is it okay now? Are you happy? And no, we're not fucking happy. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm furious.
I'm gonna be honest. My tipping point. I mean, obviously, Rowling is a monster.
Yes,
and you know the leading into it, when she was slowly losing her mind Because I don't know if people remember, before she was like what she is now, she was losing her mind in the sense that people were pointing out inconsistencies and like poor writing in her book. And so she would just make shit up about the book for clout. Like how wizards used to like shit themselves and wizard it away instead of using bathrooms. It's real. She said that, right? So I hit a point where I was already kind of detached because I was like, oh, yeah, this thing I loved as a kid isn't as good as I remember. And that's fine. It doesn't need to be, because I remember loving it as a kid. And is it Joan or Joanne?
I don't know. I don't fucking care to get her name right.
That's fair. Joanne. I've always said Joanne. Like when I want to be dismissive and like condescending, I say Joanne instead of J.K. Rowling. Yeah.
I've heard other YouTubers who do the same thing we do call her Joan. So fuck you, Joan.
Yeah, Joey.
Joey. No, because then that makes me think of Joe Organa with Joey tight pants, and we're not gonna blaspheme against the homie Joe Organa.
That's fair. But so, watching her deteriorate as people bring out legitimate criticism from the cultural aspect and from a writing aspect, right? I was already detached enough from it that when that happened, I just fully embraced the like, actually, these books are kind of bad.
Yeah, and it's like I was kind of there for a little bit too. For me, it's less of these books are actually kind of bad to like. And maybe I'm not that good at like media analysis, but I give a lot of credit for idea. Like I'm the kind of person that you may not have executed something perfectly, but like I liked the idea behind it. And I tried to put this in the words typing it to a friend the other day, and I'm going to just try to verbalize it now. So, I think the thing I liked the most about the Harry Potter like mythos were the parts that she left up to our interpretation. And I think that says a lot about her writing. That, I always looked at like the glory days of the Marauders in the First Wizarding War, the way that kids in 1977 imagined what the fuck the Clone Wars were. If that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it's stuff like that I was like, oh, expand on that. And just
the greatest criticism I've seen levied against her that isn't about, problematic representation is, again, as per usual, I got this from somebody else and do not remember where it came from. Harry Potter is a story about a group of fascists trying to take over a government and thereby the world. And doing so by legitimately infiltrating the government and then causing a fascist takeover. And the result at the end of the story is to go back to the status quo because clearly there was nothing wrong with that system to allow it to happen in the first place.
I think I know who you're quoting because I was just about to bring up the video again. Sean.
That's it. Yep.
Yeah.
That's the
I was going to be like, have you seen the Sean video? And then it occurred to me that the last time we talked about Harry Potter, I probably had the same exact nervous breakdown and then recommended that video.
And I watched the whole thing, and that is the most genius way. Because, like, by contrast, to compare it to another school story, My Hero Academia is wrapping up in the manga. The story is coming to a close. Now that could mean like by the end of the year, or by the end of next year, I don't know. But in a similar vein where villainy infiltrates, like part of the issue with the villains is a systemic issue. We talk for a living. And so part of the story is going to be the ending of that story is, well, where do we go from here? How do we resolve the fact that it's not just that there are bad people in the world, but that the system is part of the thing forging those bad people.
Yeah.
And giving them credence. And the story clearly has intention. I hope it follows through on that intention, but clearly has intention on resolving that issue, or at least confronting it. Harry Potter does not. In the same way, on like another anime, Naruto does not. The end of Naruto is Naruto becomes the Hokage.
Yeah.
And does not change the system that led him to be an orphan with no friends for 13 years of his life. Because he was harboring a weapon of war.
And I think there's something to be said for the expectation of authors to support systemic change in their narratives or not, but for somebody like J.K. Rowling, who has made so much of her big claim with her stories, how socially important and forward thinking they are. No, you shit the bed. Your answer was, hey, our racist slave trade is good, and the main character's a fucking cop now.
The answer was, all right, we beat the fascists, go back to brunch. We did it, folks. Go have your eggs Benedict.
Sensational. That's his word.
Mimosas for everyone.
Or Sunday's Bloody Mary. Anyway, Accio Spicy Caesar Mix. But that's enough of our little Joe nervous breakdown. We went so long on the Harry Potter thing that I forgot to put in the show notes that while we were talking, I changed the thumbnail to put J.K. Rowling in it to adequately promote the episode, or accurately. Real quick, just going to speed run these last couple stories. We got word from Ryan Reynolds talking about Wolverine and Deadpool 3. It's from Spencer Perry at comicbook.com. When it was confirmed Deadpool 3 would see the return of Hugh Jackman in the role of Wolverine, many Marvel fans were puzzled. Logan, blah, blah, blah. He died in Logan, blah, blah, blah. He's coming back. It's been fun, Reynolds said said of Deadpool 3 to ET Canada. He and I are really both excited. We've wanted to do this for a decade, so to have this opportunity now, I think is actually weirdly the perfect time. I never stopped trying to recruit Hugh Jackman. I was just pestering him like a gnat over the last few years. I believe in timing as much as hard work and luck and all of those intersections that are supposed to meet. Timing is one of the big ones, and I think he was ready. I think he was excited, and what we pitched him was enough of a divergence from the character that he knows, and that the character that he's left behind, that it gives him something completely new to play and something that he's very excited to do. So very fun stuff for Wolverine. Looking forward to Deadpool 3. So yeah, that's where we end the show. Travis, where can the lovely people find you before I just roam the streets of Pittsburgh screaming?
They can find me at Travis Political. I don't think I've tweeted in months.
Better off for it.
Yeah. Jared.
Yes.
Where?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Instagram at DarkJedi2552. And you can find the Nerd Academy podcast on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you get podcasts, and on our website, www.thenerdacademypodcast.com, where if you're feeling generous, you can donate to our Patreon.
Give me $1.
Speaking of our patrons, thank you to our $10 alumnus. Hold on. Keandre Lloyd. One of these days, I'm going to learn how to do that backflip. And to Paco, or what he's going by now on our Patreon, Trivia King Scotty J. Rowe.
My voice. Yeah, let's go.
You know, it's funny. I got Paco in a knowledge fight, and I was just so happy that I got to play one Alex Jones clip at the very least at the end of every episode of this show, thanks to Paco, fellow policy wonk. But now I am so affected by his current clip and name that it makes me want to play the other Alex clip every time.
Maybe I'll walk out of here tomorrow and you never see me again. That's really what I want to do.
You see, Travis has known me a long time, and Travis knows how funny it can be when I am completely and utterly defeated. And we were at that point. Speaking of me being completely and utterly defeated, Epic Confrontations, the Star Wars Trivia League that Star Wars in a Galaxy puts on. As you guys know, Scotty and my rematch has come and gone. It is available on our channel as well, because we at the very last minute decided to stream it here. So you can check it out here. You can also check it out on the Bombadcast channel. Stay tuned. There's some really big developments coming with Epic Confrontations, obviously. Now that I am free from the moorings of Cookie Cop, I'm a face now, so we'll see how the fuck that works with me being the good guy. Strange things happening at Epic Confrontation. So check that out. Lots of cool stuff coming down the pipeline. Ionized Bastards, a Star Wars real play RPG show. All 7 episodes are out now. And very soon we're going to be recording a recap episode where we all kind of talk about our experience and talk about the season as a whole. I'm still trying to convince Michael to let us call it Behind the Bastards. However, he has caught on to why I have such a request, and I can't just go, "What is salvaging my bastards?" at the beginning. So anyway, check that out on the All Remaining Systems YouTube channel. I believe Ionized Bastards is linked in the down there part. So check that out. Epic Confrontations, Ionized Bastards, all of this that you watch. Also, our Patreon $5 tier gets access to the Versus series. May is going to be Shock T versus Darth Vader. April was Reva versus Kanan Jarrus. March was Exar Kun versus Mace Windu. February was Ahsoka Tano circa the Siege of Mandalore versus Qui-Gon Jinn. And January was Lord Starkiller versus Obi-Wan Kenobi. We have a lot of really fun ones. We will be releasing June's matchup to the public, which is going to be Porter Engle versus Count Dooku, a battle of the 2 great Jedi fencers. So stay tuned for all of that. If time allows it, we might actually do a Patreon exclusive June, or we'll do an early access. We're not sure how we're going to do June yet. But Porter Engle versus Count Dooku also coming up very soon. So $5 tier on the Patreon gets you access to our backlog of Patreon exclusive content. And the $10 tier not only gets you a shout out at the end of every episode, but also early access whenever we're able to do that. For example, later tonight, when you're watching this, I'll be recording Knights of the Nerd Republic, and the moment I'm done, that episode will be on Patreon before it is released to the public on Sunday. So go ahead and check that out. I'll also be on For the Republic to talk about the Mandalorian season finale, and keep your eyes on the Comic Book Cast YouTube channel, as I was also on to talk about Mando over there as well. So thank you, Travis. Thank you to all of you lovely people for tuning in and watching and supporting us. Be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe, do all the things, and class dismissed.
Stop! Move away from the cookie jar!